health and a little wealth and a lot of love.
The history about a 401k. Do you want to know about that?
Yeah, so I don't know, like when they first
Yeah.
started, or what?
It's important because it helps you understand like where things come from. Do you think our listeners want to know?
Just out of curiosity, maybe.
Listeners, do you want to know?
Maybe.
Okay, I'm giving some bait here. Okay, so the history of 401ks, I think it's really fascinating. So there's this car corporation back in 1950. I believe it's called Studemeyer. Anyway, it was a corporation that were very specific to automotive. And they were in such financial hardship that they suspended the pension, which can happen, by the way, which draws so much national attention. And the press had a field day with this, that it put so much financial burden on the employees, and it didn't allow them to have enough to retire. I mean, could you imagine working for a company back in the day? You do your hardest, and then your pension is taken from you after seeing your company grow that. Like, pensions don't really exist anymore unless you're very, like, firefighters, I think, still get them.
Yeah, so basically, if your pension is something that you maybe look forward to, maybe kind of like Social Security, like it's something
kind of like Social Security, but
something that you
backed by an employer.
Yeah, so they pay into it maybe.
That's right.
For something after you retire.
Exactly.
When you get past the point where you can't work anymore, then they will still offer money to you.
Yeah, and when I worked at Bank of America, I can say this. I had a pension. You know, they still offer pensions, which is like unheard of. And this wasn't that long ago, like 15, 20 years. Like they're nowhere anymore because it's very expensive. That's why employers kind of do away with them. But so that happened in 1950. And so there was an act in 1978 that ensured protection around a 401k that were employee sponsored, employer offered. And so if you know a little history about the United States, you can look at the Social Security when that was born. That was government induced because they wanted to ensure Americans could save for retirement. So in 1978, they had more protection around 401k. So 401k ultimately can go with you no matter what job you go to. And they added different classes of protection. So deferred compensation, which I strongly recommend to anyone who is financially independent, who are in their golden years or olden years, I would call it. Mm-hmm. That's an opportunity for them to put that money into that 401k, deferred compensation. So that legislation helped with that. And the tax reform in 1986, which is the year that I was born, added further protections to 401k. So I just kind of walked through the history of when it was in the inception, all the way down, why it was there, so on and so forth. So if people are interested, it's just, I don't know, it's a fun fact. Like 401k, everyone knows what 401k is at this point.
Yeah, so it's a more proactive way of saving for retirement. So you're not worried about if the company goes belly up, then you've been putting something into this for a while.
Right.
It's not something that you have to wait for.
Right. Well, I will say this: there are risks involved, just like any other investments. And this is totally off topic. And I'll talk about this probably in a future episode. But if you put money in deferred compensation and your company goes belly up, there is an association with that, and so you could ultimately lose your funds. It just depends on the specific company, the eligibility. Everything is different. But we can talk about that in a future episode.
With a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love, that's a life that we live. Suits and scrubs.